Hello, and welcome to an episode of ES Repair. I am your host, Mr. Fix-It. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how simple you can fix one of these lamps. This lamp here was an electronic lamp. You touched it and the light will come on. Some of them you can touch it and it would change the intensity and luminance of the light bulb. Well, this lamp here contains the circuitry, but it no longer works. So instead of throwing the lamp out, I'm going to show you how you can fix it and bypass it. All you have to have is just another switch to install. Now there's two ways you can do this. You can either use a push button switch that you can mount onto the base of the lamp, or you can use a cord switch. Something like this to where you just, I'll show you where you can cut the cord. Install one of these and then you just use a switch and the cord. So first I'm going to take this lamp apart and show you the insides and show you what you need to do to bypass the circuit that's in these lamps. Now as you can see here, you got these little holes all around the edges of this. You may need, it's just a rubber piece that can pop off. Just get you a small flat screwdriver, insert it in one of the holes, and what it does is it pops the latch that sits in there. Like this. Now as you can see here, here is the old circuit, and inside it is the old piece that went in like that. This is the old circuit. It no longer works, and so I'm going to unhook it. Here you have black wire. This is your hot. Now most of these will come with crimp wire nuts in here, which I want to cut these off, and I do have some additional wire nuts to use so I can reconnect the wires. So what you can do is unhook your connectors. You're not going to need them. I got me a pair of wire cutters. And there you go. That's the old circuit that no longer works. Now, with the cords, I'm going to show you in a minute what to look for to know which wire that you need to use. But first, let's drill the hole to where I'm going to put my switch. Okay, now I have my base apart. I got the wires all cut. I'm going to drill my hole into my base to where I'm going to install this push on and push off switch. The wires have already been stripped, so I don't have to worry about that. Now I'm ready to drill a hole. Now some of these little switches, they can use about a 3/8 inch bit. It just depends on how big the switch is. You can use a gauge to measure the hole. Now I'm ready to drill. Now that I got my hole set, smooth the rough edges. Now, I can check to see if my switch will fit, which it does, just like that. You put your washer in first. Now, you can set with your first lock nut, your nuts, or the washer nut, and to the depth of your switch, which I'm going to set about halfway, which you can always adjust later. Put that in there. Then you take your outside lock washer and you just screw it on tight. And you have your switch installed. Now we got to do the wiring. Now with the wiring here, it's a little different. Now these I'm going to re-strip them. Sometimes I use a pocket knife, but I also have wire strippers that I can use. These wires here that I showed earlier, they're already stripped, ready to go. So, now to identify where to put the switch, you need to know which wire is going to be the hot wire. Now, plugs such as this, which I'm going to show you later on, you'll notice that one blade on the plug is wider than the other. These are what's called polarized plugs. It's to ensure that these plugs are only plugged into the wall in one way. The small one that's got this regular blade, this is your hot wire. This is the wire that feeds your house. The one with the wide blade, that's for the neutral. What we want to do is put the switch on the hot side. This is the one with the normal blade on it. Now on the cord, to identify which one is the hot wire, you can tell by looking real close at the wire. The wire that contains the hot wire has a real smooth edge to it. It's really smooth. The side that's got the neutral wire, you'll see it's got ribs on it. On the edges of it, it'll have ribs. So one side of the cord will be smooth, the other side will have ridges or ribs. You want to use the side of the wire that has the smooth side. This will be your hot wire. This is the main wire you need to use, and this is what we're going to hook the switch up to. Now with my trusty wire strippers, I'm going to strip the wires. You don't need very much. Just enough where you can work with them. Okay, now, as you can see, I've got all my wires stripped. Now the way these work is you get your black wire and you got your white wire. You want to put your switch on the black wire. This will be the hot side. Now for the switch it won't matter, but the power is going to go through the switch to your lamp. So let's just take theirs off. First thing I'm going to do, get me a wire nut. Now the wire nuts you can use between 20 gauge and 12 gauge wire, which that'll work perfect for these. Now, first thing I'll do is do the neutral side, which is the white wires. Tie them all together. Tie all the black wires together from the lamp. Now you want to be sure you have enough of these wires stripped to go inside the wire nut so you can get very good conduction. Now I got the two wires tied together. Now what I need to do is see which one of these cord wires for the incoming power to which one is my hot wire. Now, to identify these, look for the one that's got the smooth. The wire will be real smooth. The rubber coating, it's real smooth. That indicates your hot wire. This is the wire that that supplies power to your lamp. This is the wire we're going to install the switch to. Well, first, let's do the neutral wire. The neutral wire will have the wires with the ribs on. It has ridges on the edges of it, or ribs, grooves, whatever you want to call it. That is your neutral wire. So let's hook it up first. We'll connect it to the white wire, and you twist them on there as tight as you can. Take your wire nut, insert the wires into the nut, and then twist. And you twist it nice and tight, don't overdo it, because it may cause the wire nut to come apart. Just like that. Now let's install the switch. We'll take the one wire from the switch, we'll tie it to the hot wire of the cord, get another wire nut. Most of these yellow ones, they'll work fine because you can use up to 12 gauge, between 20 and 12 gauge to twist the wire nuts. Now that I got the hot wire tied to the switch, put my wire nut on. Make it nice and tight. We don't want any time for it to come loose. Now, that's tied on. Finally, we get the hot wire for the switch wire. This is going to the lamp. I got the three here in my hand. Tie these four together. Then use my third wire nut. Okay, now we have all the wires all tied together. We got the switch installed. And as you can see, that's going to be my switch. Now, I'm ready to put it back together. Well, now together. I've got my switch installed and tied down. I got my cover back on. I got my lampshades all back on. Now I'm ready to try it out. Hopefully that bulb works. And there you have it. I at least got one bulb working. What do you know? Guess the other one or two are shot. But we can try out a button. And there you go. Now you just turn an electronic lamp or a touch lamp into a switched lamp. And all you have to do is just set it where you want it, reach over to the base and turn it on and off. Well, that is one way you can fix your lamp. I'm going to show you another way you can fix it. And it's real easy. And it takes less touch than it took this one. What we're going to do, this is a cord switch. It installs in the power cord to your lamp. And most of these can handle up to 3 amps. Which is, that's most of what multi-bulb lamps use anyways. Well, I'm going to show you how simple it is to take one of these and install it onto a cord. Okay, now, in this part of the video, I'm going to show you how we're going to take this cord switch and then insert it in the typical lamp cord. Now, I know this is just a little mock-up cord. I don't have another lamp to work on, but I'm just going to show you the basic principles of how this is going to work. Now, when you fix your lamp like I showed earlier, you will need to splice the wires if you have to take the electronic circuitry out. Or if you need to replace a cord, you still have to splice the cord back into the lamp, but then you still have a cord here, a cord switch that you can insert on it. Now, once you get your wires spliced back into your lamp, and you're ready to put your cord switch on, now all you have to do is, on a cord, you want to make sure that, for example, here on this cord here, the hot wire will have a real smooth edge right here. And usually it'll have like numbers and stuff written on it. Some cords do, some do not. But the cord that you want to use is the one that's smooth. The other side, that's your neutral. It's got the rough edges, groove, and all that stuff on it. So be sure you when we do this splice, use a smooth wire. First thing we need to do is take the wire, or the cord, I should say, and you just want to cut one piece of the wire. Don't cut the cord in two. You just want to cut that smooth wire. And then when you get it cut, you want to separate it. That way, you can split the channel. Just like that. You just want to peel just enough back where you can run it through the channel. You don't want to cut the other wire. You just want to cut your hot wire, the one that's got the smoothness to the surface, and split it just like this. Next, you're going to take your switch, remove the screw. Most of these, the screw won't come out, but you got a little lock nut on the back side that will. So you just unscrew it, there's the washer that I was or the nut that I was referring to. Once that's out, now you can separate the switch. Just like that. This is where the switch is. You got your prong here on each end. These right here is what's going to actually cut into the wire. You don't have to splice the wire on this cord. All you need to do is separate, just like I demonstrated. These will do the rest of the work. This is you'll see the chambers. From right here, you got this side here. On the bottom side, this is where that neutral wire is going to run through it. It just feeds through the switch. Up here is where the hot wire that we just split is going to sit. And you can see there's a divider right there. This indicates this is where there's a cut. Now, when you put these back together, if you'll notice that there's a prong right there on one side of the hole. That's the side you want to make sure that you have a hot wire going on that side, because that's the wire it's going to splice. Next, we'll take the wire, we're going to run it through the channel. You may have to peel back just a little more because you have to run it through the channel. Now you may need to get a screwdriver, like a small tip screwdriver, to help bend the wires into the curves or into the channels. You want to make sure that your neutral goes through the channel that's on the bottom here. Make sure it goes through that side, because you don't want to hook the switch to that side. Then you just get like a small screwdriver, just gently push it in there. Make sure it's nice and firm. And when you're done, as you can see here, when you're done, you've got your neutral wire on the bottom side. This will have you, this is where it's going to run, just like that. And then on your top side here, this is where the hot wire goes through. As you can see, I've got them separated side by side. This is where you need to have it. Next step is you need to match the groove or the prong that's going to do the cutting. You need to make sure that it's on this side. As you can see here, I got them lined up. That's the way you want it to line up. You want to make sure it's going to cut into the wire, the hot wire that is smooth. So using this, you want to make sure that's how you do it. You line them up. And then you just press them in there. When you do this, you'll feel a little tug or a tight fit. And this is because the prongs are cutting into the wire. Then finally, you put your screw or the nut back into the screw. It won't move or anything, it just fits in the hole. Put your finger in it to keep it from falling back out. Get your small screwdriver, Phillips screwdriver, and tighten it back up. You don't want it too tight, but tight enough to where you got a good connection. And there you go. you have your completed electrical switch cord for your lamp. Now these switches can typically hold around 3 amps to 1 amp depending on what size you get. This one here specifically can handle up to 3 amps. Well, that's all that's to it. I showed you how to install a switch onto the base if you wish, which requires some drilling and some splicing of the wire. And now that it works, and I've also showed you how to install the cord. And it was real easy. Now you can choose how you want to do it. You can either drill the hole in the base of the lamp to install a push button switch, or you can install one of these and directly onto the cord. Just remember that your smooth wire will be your hot wire on the cord. The neutral wire will have the rough groove or the edges around the wire. So when you splice these cords, be sure that you are using the smooth wire. Well, this has been an episode of ES Repair. I am your host, Mr. Fix-It. Thank you for watching.